I'm getting ready finally to start my Lost Arts with Jynene Our Living Tapestries series. I actually have already, but I'm going to really begin with the thing that I love most, quilts and quilting. Not modern, abstract, or a million pieces quilting, but Lost Arts, old-fashioned, the kind that our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers, etc. did, using what they had, like flour sacks and old clothing and things like that, but sometimes new fabric. So I really wanted to learn to quilt for a long time, and finally it happened because of a couple of sweet things. So the way I started first was the most adorable little book about making mini quilts. And I thought that was perfect, a perfect way to start. So I started making little dolly quilts. This one is machine quilted and it's called a postage stamp. These are little tiny 1-inch squares. And it was such a fun way to start. This little sweet one is actually for sale in my Etsy shop. This little dolly quilt. And this one is actually when I started to learn hand quilting. So it's the same little postage stamp design, 1-inch squares, a little dolly quilt, and I even put a little, where is it? Hand lettered a little label on it. But it's all cotton, sweet. This one, some of them have, little buttons. They're so cute. And then this one actually has a hanging apparatus that I added on the back. Any of these that you see, the reason I'm showing them all to you is because if you're interested in one, I will list it on Etsy. Right now I only have the one, but that's where I sell. So if you're interested in one, I can list it and sell it. This sweet little dolly quilt. And I love using all cotton and all cotton batting and all cotton thread and a lot of scraps from things. Like I can remember, these were some kitchen napkins. This was some fabric I thrifted. Well, almost all of it is thrifted, almost all of it. But I also try to use up what I have or thrift. Here's another one. It's a little bit bigger. And hand quilted with blue. It's fun to use different cotton quilting threads. This one also has a little, I actually coffee dyed this one to make it look older and vintage and shabbier. So all of these are available, or I'm showing all of these because I'm putting it out there as a poll to see which quilt Our Living Tapestries followers would like to have a tutorial of first. If you let me know something different you'd like to see me start with, then just let me know in the comments. This was a quilt square in my grandmother's things, just one quilt square. So I put it into the rest of this with the borders. and hand quilted it. Another really fun thing is a whole cloth quilt. That's all one color, especially just a pretty vintagey color of cotton. And then once it's quilted, even that is just beautiful. A whole cloth quilt. So again, available with the hanging sleeve. That's what it is. A hanging sleeve. So you can take one old quilt block and put it into, I think that's all of the little ones. And then before I go into my bigger ones, I just want to show you something gorgeous. This is old, 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 old. And I think that the batting is wool. But aren't these colors fabulous? So this had kind of unusual borders, and I think it was meant to fit the bed a certain way. And this is very old and very vintage, wonderful, antique. And if you're interested in this, I would list it on my Etsy privately for you. It is $349. And I'm not sure if if it doesn't sell, I'm not sure if I will keep it whole or use it in making other beautiful things. But it is fabulous. Hand pieced, hand quilted. Started making bigger quilts, and I wanted really simple patchworky quilts with vintage prints. So this is an option for a tutorial. Fast, fun, and easy. And then the back is just a homespun. And I use Mountain Mist thinner quilt batting because some of the heavier needled quilt battings are too heavy to sleep under. So this is more pliable and soft and comfortable, but this is just throw size. This can be made any size. And machine quilted all of the rest of my quilts except for one, which I had done because it's a king. I'll show you. But this is really fun. My favorite word, fun. And that could be a demo. I have about 6 or 8 here that need to be machine quilted, and so I'm going to send them off because I have too many other things first on my bucket list. Another simple, how easy is that? Squares, but how adorable and vintage and cheerful and sweet and lovely. This could be made baby size up to king size or whatever you want. And it's machine quilted. And the whole back, your backing can be all one fabric, or it's really fun when you do a patchwork on the back too, it's a good way to use up scraps. Again, I'm allergic to myself in the morning. More simple, richer, patchworky vintage. This one is bigger, maybe full size. And I hand quilted this in a kind of fun, different zig and zag way. Isn't it fun to just have a bunch of quilts around your house, hanging on rails and banisters and couches, and for people to get cozy or just feel cozy. And then the very first real, actual pattern quilt I made from a class with paper piecing, which is not my favorite thing, so I never did it again, but I love this quilt. It's all flannel. It's called Pilgrim's Progress, and it's the first real quilt I did. Oh, it has a little bit of lint. And so I just machine quilted this in straight lines. So this one stays in the family. My first one, really ever, my first real quilt. There's another super fun, easy one. It's just the top so far, but it's just squares. And it's a set of fabrics that go together. So you can buy things called jelly rolls or layer cakes. There are sets of fabrics that all go together. So this one needs a border or two and machine quilted and bound. This one was called Egg Money. The fabric is all thimbleberries, which is really fun. Right up my alley, all old-fashioned and vintage. Every block is different, so it's a sampler. And of course there's a, vintage grandma core story about how women, homemakers, homesteaders, used to use their egg money or whatever they could I did a rickrack. Isn't that cute? A big rickrack for that inset. But there's a, really sweet story to thimbleberries and egg money, this quilt. So it needs to be machine quilted, backed with batting, machine quilted, and then bound. Here's another very simple one that is just the top ready to be machine quilted, just squares. And it's another set of fabrics that all go together. So if you are interested in learning to quilt, I can show you how you can use a cutting mat and fabric cutter and rulers to make sure everything is accurate, and it makes it really, really, really easy to do. Can you imagine just freehanding things with scissors before? That everything fits together beautifully, perfectly, and then you end up with a nice squared quilt. But it can be simple. Squares, rectangles, just strips even. This one is just strips of different widths, ready to be trimmed. Ready to be trimmed. Batting, backing, machine quilted, and finished with the binding. All of those can be demos. Just let me know. Again, I'm leaving it up to my viewers to tell me which one you would like a tutorial of first. Here are two more of the adorable little, this is all retro and vintage fabric, the little tiny postage stamp, 1-inch square. But there's very easy ways. You don't just cut little 1-inch squares. There's a very easy way to make this happen. Isn't it cheerful and joyful and stunning? So when I get a bunch of these finished soon, I will post again, show them again finished, and they will be for sale on my Etsy. So here's one that's the same, finished, but kind of child size or doll size. And I called it Mini 9 Patch in Black. This one would be for sale. If you're interested, let me know. I'll put it on my Etsy shop, and I can do that and just keep it private between you and me so no one else could buy it. This one is machine quilted in a simple diagonal. But isn't it lovely? So this could be for a baby, a dolly, to hang on the wall, anything. This was the hardest class I ever took, but it was really fun. It was at a lodge, a retreat with an instructor, a bunch of fun women, and tons of good food and all that good stuff. And the hard part was none of these were like on the inch. It was like 2 3/8, everything, 5 3/8. Whoa. But I did it. It was called, let's see if I put it was called Scrappy Stars. Oh, I'm thinking of another one too. And this one I machine quilted in just simple, actually I did like I did a simple grid, and then I did a little bit of squiggling, which is really fun. Supposedly, and excuse my sniffles and allergies, as always, I just have issues for my tissues. Supposedly in machine quilting, you're never supposed to cross the line that you made, but I'm all about breaking the rules. Besides, how would you do a grid? So that is Scrappy Stars. Now I'm thinking about one that's missing. A specific quilt that I love making the most, that I would choose for the first tutorial. And a lot of people know it as bullseye, and I can't find the origin of it, or if somebody owns this method. I'll keep looking, but it's going to be a tutorial. In fact, I might just go ahead with it in the meantime, because they have it pretty much ready to show. So here is my first one, and I just washed it. It's all cotton, and it's so delicious and soft and yummy. This is called, a lot of people call this bullseye. The method is so fun. And my favorite thing about it is all of the seams are raw on the outside, and everything just gets softer and fluffier. And I added doilies, and it is such a fun process. My favorite word, fun. So this is absolutely, definitely going to be one of the very first tutorials. And I kind of went rogue with my strange borders and then also with my scrappy binding. Breaking the rules. So I machine quilted this with a grid through the middle part, and then squigglies on the borders, and a scrappy pieced border binding. So this one is absolutely going to be my very first tutorial. It is ridiculous fun and just so soft and wonderful. I don't know if I showed you the back. This one will always stay with me. I think it's my favorite of all. And again, I use that lightweight Mountain Mist cotton batting. It's not thick and felted and needled and heavy like that other natural cotton batting. This one is the old kind of batting that's heavy. I made this for us for an anniversary quilt. What a clever way to buy a bunch of fabric, right? So this was a set of fabric that they used to sell, and I did have it machine quilted because it's a king and I couldn't do that myself on the machine. So it's heavy and huge and actually not comfortable for us. So, but a really fun thing is that the person that, there's kind of a funny story about me buying buying fabric for our anniversary, but the machine quilter quilted that in. That was a long time ago. We are at 43 years. Oh my word. It's big. And this is the back. There are a lot of machine quilters that can do pretty amazing things. So she kind of did a circular design to work with the circles in front. But isn't it wonderful? It's so wonderful and vintagey, and we have to figure out how to use it. It is heavy, all cotton. This is really fun. I'm going to show pictures. I made the bullseye style in squares. You can make them in diamonds. I made them in hearts. You can make flowers. The one that I made in hearts, it has sold. But this is all kind of retro, vintagey. They're new fabrics, they're not old, but they're made to look old. And so the back is all this. And I machine quilted it. This one is kind of either a twin size or a kind of a large throw. But again, all of the edges are raw. Isn't that fun, fun, fun? And it's meant to be scrappy and perfectly imperfect. This is not the kind of quilt where you try to match all the edges up, except for when you're piecing these. So this is my last one. This is just a bullseye top that's ready to be batted and backed, machine quilted and bound. So that's what the front looks like when the blocks are pieced. So those are nice and ironed and fresh and crisp, but they're not going to stay that way as soon as this is finished and washed. And in the back, it looks like that. So that's my last one. And this bullseye style will be my first, but they're not all bullseyes, obviously. Squares, hearts. So let me know what tutorials you prefer first. Tiny dolly quilts, hand piecing. I'm going to go for it. This is going to be my first in the series, Our Living Tapestries, which is what our lives are. And a lot of times in a tapestry, the front is beautiful, or it looks good, but the back is a different story. So just gonna keep it real, perfectly imperfect, and I will see you in the first tutorial very soon. And by the way, quilt tip of a lifetime. Always fold your quilts different regularly and every time, because if you fold them the same or leave them folded away in cupboards or boxes or trunks as heirlooms, if you leave them folded the same way forever, the fibers will break just like folded paper. So take your quilts out. If you have heirloom quilts or your own handmade quilts or whatever, fold them different regularly, often. You're welcome. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. There are so many beautiful things to make. Let's fill the world and the airwaves with beauty, goodness, truth, using what we have or can easily thrift, and enjoy creating and making and sharing and giving beautiful gifts made from our hands. There are so many fun things. The sky is the limit. So join me and bring friends along. Give a warm round of applause to my helper extraordinaire. See you very soon.